Oh, it's been a while since I've gotten to wear this. So this one is a little bit impromptu, and I'm kind of coming at this topic sideways. I want to kind of take a look in a revisiting eye to Christopher Eccleston's time on Doctor Who, and more specifically his departure from the show and his reluctance to return. So here's what has been known for some time. He made the decision to leave the show before the first series was done being shot, and that was not supposed to be made public until, in advance of the Parting of the Ways airing. But it got leaked by the BBC, and he had there's been various sort of unconfirmed, nothing direct from either him or the producers, reports of him clashing with some of the key figures involved. Whether it was Russell T Davies, whether it was other producers, it's not worth speculating on. And as a result, Eccleston has been very sparse on Doctor Who since his departure. He has never come back to appear on screen again, something which David Tennant did do for the 50th anniversary, which is kind of the thing that a lot of people hoped he would come back for, including Stephen Moffat, the showrunner at the time, because that was his hope until Christopher Eccleston turned him down and he ended up creating the War Doctor instead. He does do conventions intermittently. He has yet to appear in Big Finish, which again is something David Tennant has already taken up the torch doing, and many other people involved in modern era Doctor Who do. Cast of Torchwood, River Song, lots of stuff being done there. He hasn't shown up for that either. And I kind of want to address that because some things came out recently that I think give another perspective on this. Because I think a lot of us had kind of assumed, largely because Christopher Eccleston has never said flat out what the conflict was in detail. And neither has anyone else. So everyone's kind of maintaining a level of professionalism. So we don't know exactly what went down. And it was kind of presumed for a while that he just held a grudge against the BBC because there was an agreement for how his departure was supposed to happen. They didn't stick to it, and he was just ticked at them. Except it took a while, but he did start doing BBC-related things again eventually. He's never gone back to Doctor Who, though, so it does seem like it's always seemed like there was something more unique to the show that made him reluctant to ever come back. And something that came out recently, which I'm not going to go so far as to say is the reason that he hasn't come back, but it has given another layer to it. And that is that at the time, he was anorexic. He was battling mental and physical health issues, and he maintains that the physical state he was in, again at the time being anorexic, was part of how he was able to secure the job. Now, whether that's true or not, he certainly seems to believe it. And the reason I kind of want to bring attention to this is because, again, I know there are some members of the Doctor Who fan community who are annoyed and upset with Eccleston's very limited engagement with the fandom. And I have friends who very specifically hold a grudge for his not coming back for the 50th anniversary. And I feel like it's anyone who feels that way, this is important to take on board. Because what this means is his coming back to the show would be about more than working with the BBC again. It would be about more than working on the show again. Because at this point, anyone who he might have had his issues with probably isn't working on the show anymore. But it would be him re-entering a work environment and a character and a headspace that he occupied while sick. And that is actually asking a lot of anybody to do. So to make a comparison, anyone who's holding a grudge against Eccleston for not coming back for something like the 50th anniversary and for continuing to engage him with the fandom fairly sporadically and in limited ways, that would be like being mad at a recovering alcoholic for not coming to a party you're having at a bar. It'd be nice if they showed up, but if they decide it's better for their own health for them not to be there, not to be in that space, not to be in that environment because it might bring back the pain of past trauma, physical and mental, then they're within their right to say, no, I can't do that. And again, I don't want to overstate this because I am extrapolating out at least a little bit. Because Eccleston has not said flat out that that is part of why he engages with Doctor Who as little as he does. But I still feel like it's worth having a full appreciation of, because it becomes a reason where now it makes more sense than what we knew previously on its own, as far as why he doesn't come back, why he hasn't gotten involved with Big Finish, why he didn't come back for the 50th anniversary, why he might not come back for any future big anniversaries. We might never get the Ninth Doctor as portrayed by Christopher Eccleston in anything outside of his original 13 episodes. And that would be a shame, because he was fantastic. He was really good in that part. He brought a really unique feel to the role that other actors haven't. And whether you feel that he did better or worse than anyone else, that's a matter of personal taste. But what he brought was very unique. And it's something that I've always kind of wished we could have had a little bit more of than we got. So I get the frustration at not having more. But if anybody out there still feels a frustration against Christopher Eccleston as a person for that, I hope that you'll find it in your heart to accept that the guy's gotta take care of himself. That's ultimately kind of the first thing that every person has to do. And I don't mean like act selfishly, but I mean like you have to take care of your own body, your own mind. And if you're not, that needs to be addressed. And if you used to not, then it's a good idea to avoid repeating that situation where you weren't taking care of yourself properly. So, I don't know. Maybe it is because I know people personally who do kind of, or have, maybe in light of this, they've already softened, which would be amazing, but who have historically kind of held a fairly open grudge against him for his failure to ever come back. And maybe the people I know who are like that are a vast minority. I mean, I kind of hope so. But just in case, just remember the guy's, yes, he's an actor, but he's a human being with stuff to work through. And however he needs to do that, let him do it. So, yeah. There we go. Suppose it works that this is coming out. I'm releasing this the same month as World Mental Health Day, so guess that's about as close to appropriate as I'll get with this. But in any case, whatever your thoughts are on what I've talked about or any of this, drop something down in the comments and let's talk about it. There's other stuff to do as well. The like, the subscribe, both of which are massively helpful. Link to my Patreon, even more helpful if you feel like chucking $1 a month my way. Plus, there are other links down there as well. Click on them and they'll take you places, but you also don't have to, because I am not going to tell you what you need to do. You'll decide for yourself what's best for you. And until next time, this counsel